So this is the latest action comedy from director Paul Feig, who's previously known for things like Freaks and Geeks, Spy, Heavyweights, those sorts of things. I'm trying to think of what his most recent one was. Anyways, this
Bridesmaids, The Heat, Spy with Melissa McCarthy.
there we go. So he's a funny guy. He's made some really great comedies. This stars Awkwafina uh, as Katie Kim, who's recently moved to the future Los Angeles. Is taking place in like 2030. She's a struggling actor. She's trying to become one. Not having a good time. She's got to rent this sleazy Airbnb. She's getting kind of nickel and dimed at every moment. When she accidentally wins the lottery. Except now there is this lottery that is kind of across from the Purge movies, where if someone manages to kill you kind of with their bare hands, they can take your ticket and claim the prize. And so the lottery is a ridiculous number. It's like $3.5 billion. Kim wins, and now everyone in LA is trying to kill her. She runs into John Cena's character, who is a freelance protector. He's like, hey, give me a cut of the winnings and I'll protect you through this thing. And so that's a setup for comedy, but also lots of action as they fight off all these goons and other people trying to get the tickets. Simu Liu is in this also who's got his own protection agency. There's some things that work about this. There's a lot of this that just screams like streaming movie, but we'll get into it. Zach, what do you think?
So I'm not a big Paul Feig fan, admittedly. I think some of his earlier work worked not bad. I remember seeing Bridesmaids in theaters and thinking it was really great and looking forward to looking at other stuff he'd done. I remember watching episodes of The Office that he'd put together. So he did some Parks and Rec, lots of fun. He did a couple of Melissa McCarthy movies that, did fine, I think, in their own right. But then since he's kind of shifted back to TV, doing small stuff, he did a film in 2022 for Netflix called The School of Good and Evil that I don't recall ever seeing. So I didn't really know what to expect out of this, but I knew there's some talent at the front, right? Awkwafina, John Cena, Simu Liu, a lot of fun. I like all of those people. They all make good stuff. The premise seems all right. We'll see. And I'm not, I guess, sore to say that Jackpot did not do it for me, man. Like, it's just not that funny. That's kind of it on its primary face. Is it's kind of a joke a minute feature, and there's few jokes that land. There's a few. I did laugh a couple times, but it just kind of still has that lingering, like, almost Judd Apatow style of comedy that Feig seems to be leaning into in his last few years. Which is show up with the script and then have the actors do the scene, but they'll improv in it and they'll riff and they'll say a couple like glib lines that they come up with on the day, and then we'll just pick the best stuff in editing and put it in the movie. And it doesn't work that good, dude. Like it didn't work that good on your last couple movies, and like I don't think it's working that good here. And I don't have a lot of hard evidence to say that's what's happening, but I do know there's a lot of throwaway lines, and I do know that the writer Rob Yescombe traditionally does video games. He doesn't do a lot of screenplays for movies, and most of his video games are like sci-fi action. There's a couple of them are like dystopian future, and it leads me to wonder if like Jackpot maybe originally started as a more serious kind of script and then just got picked up along the way and shaped and kind of rolled into this kind of comedy that we've got here on Amazon. It's lightweight, sure, but it's also like 2 hours. And when you're looking to watch something at home, that can be quite a lot of time to not laugh at a movie. So Andy, what did you think of Jackpot?
It definitely did not quite pass the 6 laugh test. I was counting. There are a lot of attempts at jokes that, it's just not that funny. I think my biggest thing was that it looks like the entire movie is shot on backlots and sound stages. Like it never looks like they're ever on an actual street or in a real building. Also, I needed the action to just be more and better, and I'm sure they use a lot of stunt people, but there's a time where Jackie Chan, this would have been a Jackie Chan movie, and he would have done all his own stunts, and they would have been incredible and amazing, and he would have broken a bone or two to get there, and we don't really get that, and it's a shame because Simu Liu is an action star. John Cena is large, like capable of doing action as well, and he does a fair amount, but he's actually the funnier part of this. Like I know that Awkwafina is known as like the comedian, but John Cena is like way funnier than her in this movie. I felt it definitely needed to tighten up the script. This is a 80 to 90 minute idea. tops. Yeah, you needed more to make this more cinematic, and it's definitely like, oh, this is just going on streaming. It's just kind of whatever.
Yeah, it starts with like a wildly cynical premise. The movie opens with like this like I think straight RoboCop inspired like technology font, like it's 2030 in Los Angeles, and there's this big lottery. We were talking about before the show. Andy compared it to Purge. Great comparison, right? There's one day a year when somebody gets selected, and if you can murk them first, then you get the money. The movie is, then it does this big like stamp in thing, Jackpot, and I swear it looks like the RoboCop font. It's the oddest thing. And then we get our like future Los Angeles where like everybody's mean and no one's nice to each other. And Awkwafina is this well-meaning woman from Michigan. I think she's where she was staying with her mom. And now she's back in California because she wants to become an actress. And she gets like the worst Airbnb in the world. And no one's nice to her. And everybody takes advantage of her. And like nothing is working out for Awkwafina because LA is just this like hellscape of actors and actresses looking for opportunities until of course she whips out this like odd little card screen she's got that everybody has that's like branded the grand lottery, and it's like you won, because I don't know why they just weren't on phones. I don't know if they didn't want to just like have iPhones and Androids on set where people have to whip them out and look at their cell phones. They've got these like prop cards. And then everything goes to hell in a handbasket, right? Like she's running from people and jumping out of the way and saying glib lines like they didn't teach us that at fight school, like, and it like stuff that's not doesn't really land until, like you said, Cena shows up, Simu Liu starts to get rolled in the picture. You start to get some more talent behind a challenging premise, I think, and that's where the movie, Act 2, I guess, has got the bulk of the goods. That's where most of the good stuff happens.
Yeah, we get a handful of action classic things. We got car chases, we got fisticuffs, we got well, there's a strange rule where you can't actually use any guns to try to kill the lottery person. So there's no like guns, firearms. So there's no shootouts. It's just all melee weapons basically, and a lot of car chases. I think strangely also in the script they try to give them both like really tragic backstories out of nowhere, and it seems really really out of place because it's like a
Yeah.
silly action comedy, and then there's like, man, when that operation went wrong in Afghanistan and I had to leave everyone behind, and it still haunts me to this day, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, what what are we doing here, man? It's a little bit lighten up lighten up, kids.
Yeah, well, like I said, like between the cynical premise and the everybody's getting rammed backstories and like the techno font at the top and the dystopic, like there's even a RoboCop joke in the script. I was like, is this supposed to be like a low key Paul Verhoeven riff of like an alternate future where people are just taking advantage of the lottery? Because again, looking at the writer Rob Yescombe, it would imply that it is. And then just somewhere along the way, it got rolled into like this comedy, like lighthearted action thing. Because the script doesn't point to it being that all that lighthearted. Like that comes from the improv and the presentation, the bright colors, the set design. Which is all fine, save for the wire rig that they use in every action scene to either like flip some stunt guy over in the background, some eccentric fashion, or for one of the big fight scenes towards the end involves a lot of wire rigging, and B, all of the many interior car shots that are all shot in like the same interior car with the same lighting, and they just green screen like the windows in. There's a ton of car footage in this movie for no reason. Lots of conversations in cars for some reason. Like, I mean, I guess we're on the run. I guess that's what we're working towards. But like, it's chunky, and it's very obviously like straight to streaming. We're not overthinking it. We're just making a movie. That's the pitch here.
Yeah, but it was, I struggled to get through this. I had to watch it in two parts because I just couldn't bring myself to sit through the last half hour all in one go. I had to come back to it the second day. Machine Gun Kelly is surprisingly in this for no reason. There's a couple of cameos where they're just like, hey, if we give you an extra $100, can you show up on set for? And that's what these streaming movies do. That they spend a lot of money on stars and cheap out on everything else. To just get this out there, and it kind of works because it's it is famous faces on here, but everything else looks so cheap. I mean, it looks cheaper than a TV movie, which I have happened to. My mom was watching a a Lifetime movie when I right before I started this, and I was like, the Lifetime movie is more convincing than the sets and all the setup for all this.
Yeah. It bums me out a little bit whenever I see a movie like Jackpot, like at the top of like the front page of Amazon or Netflix, like watch our new straight to streaming movie with John Cena and Awkwafina. And then people click on it and watch it and they're like, that's okay. You know, like we can do better than okay, you know, and I think Amazon can do better than okay, but you're right. Like it's movie by algorithm, right? We know how much money we think this will make. We know what we think we'll get from these stars. Let's get these people in it and this director and this script and boom, you got your movie, right? Like you're on your way. Jackpot will be hot for 2 weeks and nobody will ever watch it again. Like it feels like it's like a Walmart DVD bin movie, right? It's like you'd find this in a red box a decade ago and you'd look at it and be like, what's that? And then just not ever get it. Maybe see the trailer someday on YouTube. But Jackpot is just out there for the world to see. And it's like laughably misses the mark. It's not funny. It's not clever. It doesn't have. I feel like it kind of tries to say something about the state of Los Angeles. Like maybe there's a bit of that in-joke stuff that Feig's slipping in. Like it's just ruthless out here. You know, there's an audition scene that's like particularly cruel. Awkwafina's got a line at the end about YouTubers and wrestlers becoming famous, which is where her and Cena respectively started. Like I kind of get that, but like in the 2 hours that it is, like nobody's gonna get to the end of that rainbow, man. Like it's just too boring. Like it just doesn't get there fast enough.
Yeah, I was actually more invested at the very beginning when she first moves to LA and she's like she's losing money hand over fist because it's like, oh, she signs into the Airbnb and it's like a tiny closet and like the ceiling's leaking, and then she shows up to the audition and that's a real, like that was more interesting, like her trying to make it as an actor than the entire premise of this whole lottery thing. And they're, in the end it's about the value of friendship, not the value of money. A lot of cliches, stuff like that. Yeah, it's fine. It's one of these, like, put it on the background while you're doing your laundry, doing chores, like look up every now and then. Not gonna miss much.
Yeah, not long ago I rewatched Paul King's Wonka from last Christmas, and that movie opens with Timothée Chalamet as young Wonka, like arriving to town, and he sings this 12 Silver Sovereign song, and over the course of the song he loses all of his money because everybody in town takes advantage of him, and he's some outsider, and like it's charming and sympathetic, and it gets you to where you need to go in like the 3 minutes that song is, and then you get like a couple more finagling, and we're off. We're on the way to the movie, and this movie takes like 25 minutes to get going, and it's like, oh boy. There is admittedly an opening montage featuring Sean William Scott of American Pie fame that is mildly fun and really just like makes me wish I was watching that movie instead of Jackpot. Right, like that would have been, I think, a little bit more intriguing. But I appreciate that they stuck it in there as some kind of action starter, because without it, my God, it's a dry 20. Like I bet there's two versions of this movie that doesn't have that montage and one that does, and the audience retention time with that in there is notably higher than it just starting flat, like nothing going on. Yeah.
Like I said, anyway, it reminded me of those older Jackie Chan films like Rumble in the Bronx, or kind of all those films he did where he did his own like really crazy stunts, and it was just like incredible to see. And also in like Hong Kong cinema, like you were expected to do those stunts. You're like, no, you're not using a stunt, man. Like Jet Li was the same way. He's doing all his own stunts, and it reminded me of that kind of movie, which we don't really get anymore. It's just kind of a watered down version of it.
Yeah, and that's a good comparison too, because Chan often had like those kind of like fish out of water protagonist roles where he'd be like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I'm just trying to go about my day, right? And people are just attacking him out of nowhere. And Awkwafina's got that. And it's a clever bit to have Cena step in and be her, like, just take all the bullets kind of character, right? He's the one getting whacked with the bat. He's the one getting a fluorescent light bulb broken over his head. Like, that all sounds great on paper, but it doesn't work because I don't think they wrote a lot of it down. Like, I think they just expected it to come to him on the day, and they were like, we'll put it together in post. And it just is not, it's not the funniest way to make a movie, like I don't know. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Escom wrote this as a straight comedy for Amazon Prime, and this is exactly adapted from the page, and he's to blame. I'm not sure. But Jackpot, I think, is a bit of a miss, bit less of a jackpot, as it were. Any other thoughts or recommendations, Andy?
I think Simu Liu is not in this enough for as much as he's only kind of in the last third, and it's a bit disappointing because, again, he did all his own like stunts and stuff in Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, so like he could do it. I was expecting a lot more from them. It's like you have a martial artist guy here and you didn't use him. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it's true. He is a lot of fun though in this movie, and notably, I was thinking watching this. When I saw him in Shang-Chi, he looks so young, and the next time I see him in Shang-Chi, he's going to have wrinkles, and they're going to have to CGI him out because it'll have been 20 years since the last movie. Like crazy. Anyway, any other thoughts or recommendations?
No, I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend? I was about to say Bridesmaids. Would you recommend Jackpot?
I'm going to say pass on this. It was a struggle for me to get through. It's not very funny. You got some decent action scenes. There's a couple of good jokes. Maybe put it on while you're doing laundry or washing dishes, something like that. I was really bored through it. I had to watch it in 2 sittings. It's too long. It needed to be 90 minutes at most, and it's about 105, 110. So I'm going to say pass.
Yeah, same. Pass. Keep scrolling. You're going to open up Amazon Prime and Jackpot's going to be there. Just move on. Go look for something else. It's fine, but it doesn't have any, there's not even any real hidden gems to tell you to come watch it for. I can't even recommend it as like an offbeat comedy that's got heart, kid. Nah, man. It just feels as soulless as its premise, right? It just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. I would say pass on Jackpot. You're not missing anything. If you want a good Cena performance, go check out Peacemaker, right, on Max. He's incredible. If you want a good Simu Liu performance, go check out Shang-Chi, or even in Barbie, he's a lot of fun. If you want a good Awkwafina performance, go check out The Farewell. She's incredible. God, I wish she'd do more drama. Jackpot is a bad day for all of these people. It just doesn't work for any of them. It'll make its money on Amazon. Everybody over there will have a great time. Whatever. Just let Jackpot go. They're not going to be hurting for your one view. You know what I mean? You're fine. God, that's our episode, Andy. Episode 264. What are we watching next week?
So we're back on August 27th with The Crow, which is the remake of the, I think 1993, 1994 movie of the same name, starring Bill Skarsgård and FKA Twigs. We're going to be looking at that. We don't really know what to think about this. Doesn't look great, but it is the big release that, of course, is about a couple who are killed by mob people. He comes back to life to exact vengeance, and it's based on a comic book, I believe. And we are going to take the plunge and watch Horizon: An American Saga Part 1, which is now will be streaming on Max by the end of the week. All 3 hours of it. So we are going to go down this road, which means we're going to have to watch Part 2 at some point as well. But that's what we're going to be watching. Also, if in case you're interested, Blink Twice, the horror movie with Channing Tatum, comes out this Friday as well. We're going to be skipping that, but that is out in theaters. And looking forward to September. It's getting real dry. There is not a lot coming out, but some things to look forward to in the coming weeks are Beetlejuice, The Substance, September 20th, which we mentioned the trailer before, and Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola's big magnum opus, Possible Disaster, at the end of the month, September 27th. But The Crow and Horizon: An American Saga Part 1 for next week.
Big hopes for The Crow. Fingers crossed for just good goth horror action. You know what I mean? I haven't seen good goth horror action in a minute in the theater. Could be big, could be fun, could be gruesome. As for Horizon, I really want to give it a chance. I do. I really want to try to sit down and watch it good on a big screen, in 4K if I can get it. I'm excited it's coming to Max. It's exactly what I was talking about watching it. I will not commit to watching Part 2 or Part 3 or Part 4 for sure. If Part 1 is a bomb, I'm not coming back. But from what it's worth, I've heard people say that it's redemptive and that there's good stuff and it's good setup because it's part of a big epic thing. Maybe. And hey, it's from Costner. Guy that dances with wolves. Could be heat. Anyway, if you want to see what we think of The Crow next week or Horizon, or you want to talk about what we've done this week, you just want to get in the mix, get involved with the show, get involved with your boys here at Offscript. Best thing you can do is just subscribe to Offscript Film Review, wherever you are listening to or watching or consuming this content. If you're on YouTube, where we're uploading individual reviews and shorts every week, big things going on YouTube. You can subscribe to us there, follow, like, channel, ring the notification bell, keywords, Buzz Hot Topics. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the usual social media places. You can like and follow us there. Of course, big help if you do. For our audio listeners out there, what are we on? Spotify, Google Play, iHeartMedia, iTunes, of course. You can follow us there as well and leave a rating and review if you have the means. We'd love it. Just scroll down or scroll up. I'm not sure which platform you're on, but we appreciate you listening, and we'd love for you to get involved if you can. You can check out our website, offscriptfilmreview.com. You can leave us correspondence directly directly at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. My God, episode 264 in the bag. From all of us at Offscript, the home of Bold Cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.